YugiNoNo.
It's King Prepare.
Alright, you guys, I'm gonna give you what you've all been waiting for, my Cyber Dragon deck profile. And I'm actually going to be giving you two deck profiles. This one is the first one without Power Bond. This deck is gonna be the updated version of my combo-centric, rank 5 Cyber Dragons. But in another video, I'm gonna show you guys the Power Bond build that I've come up with. But in the next Cyber Dragon video, I'm gonna show you the Power Bond build because I know you guys love my old school Power Bond build, the Power Bond OTK. It's just as crazy and good as ever, and that is the more budget build of the deck, so I will be showing that as well. It's just that now that we have links, I wanted to see, if this build could really stand up and if it could really still do stuff. So I sat down and this is what I came up with. And I will show you guys the combos towards the end of the video, but first up, let's get into the deck profile. Starting with, of course, the legendary Cyber Dragon itself. This, of course, is your 2100 beat stick that you get to special summon from your hand or from your deck using Cyber Dragon core. And you get Cyber Dragon off of core two different ways. One, of course, is by its own effect, to special summon it from the deck by banishing this from the graveyard when you don't control a monster and your opponent does, or by using Machine Duplication, which might be the best spell card in the deck. And I had to make room, guys, so I ended up bumping Dry down to 1, and the reason why is because he's kind of just the worst card in the deck now. And that is because between Link monsters and the Brilliant Engine and everything else, you never really get to use its effect. So really, its only purpose is just to serve as another Cyber Dragon name to go into Chimera Tech, and that's really all I ever use it for. Although there are occasions where you do get to use its effect, and when you do, it's not that bad, but you can always summon machines for the rest of the turn that you use it. So yeah, this card has really become obsolete in the deck because you have to use other engines to make the deck good. Plus, Chronomaly Golden Jet is just a way better card, guys. Golden Jet doesn't have any drawbacks to it. It just makes itself a level 5 and lets you go into Pleiades or Durindal or just anything that you want. And for the last 3 cards out of your standard Cyber Dragon build, you have to play the Galaxy Soldiers. Galaxy Soldier is a level 5 light. You get to pitch a card from your hand and special summon it and search another copy of itself. This card really keeps your deck going. It really contributes to your combos and everything else. You have to play 3 of this card, especially in this build. And because we have links now, guys, because we have links, you gotta play your 3 Gofus, which is your 1 card Link monster. Plus, it's a level 5 for your rank 5 plays. This card is just so good. And I'll be showing you combos with this card towards the end of the video when I do all the combos. And next up, I tried to cut this out, guys. I really did. The whole Kaiju engine, I tried to cut out, but it's just too good. I couldn't completely fix the deck going first, guys. This deck is just a go second deck, and since it is a go second deck, the Kaijus are just way too good in it. Although I will say there are some things that I have fixed to where going first isn't as bad in Cyber Dragons as it has been historically. Plus, I came up with a 2-card combo a long time ago, which I've shown you guys so many times now. And that combo is with Cyber Dragon Core and Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Lets you go into number 38, which is so good. So yeah, I really tried to fix going first in the deck, to make it a just go first deck. It just doesn't work. I even tried Machinas. I tried like everything, all kinds of odd stuff, and it just didn't end up working. This deck is just kind of a go second deck, so you have to play the Kaijus, and the last monster in the deck is the Garnet for your Brilliant Fusion target. For the spells, let's start this off with 3 Brilliant Fusion. I tried to cut this out at 1.2, but it's just too good. 2 normal summons is just too good, you guys. And this really goes to unbrick your hands and just everything, and you can combo this with like just everything in the deck because it brings out a level 5. Like you can go into Durindal and all that stuff, and then you can use the Durindal to pop your dead Brilliant Fusion when you overlay with the Seraphonite. Like, it's just too good not to play. Another card that's too good not to play is Machine Duplication. Without this card, this deck would not be as combolicious as it is. You really rely on getting core and this to your hand, and if you don't, there's situations where I've gone into Durindal to try to get those in my hand. This card is just so good. And I still play the 3 instant fusions because this does contribute to your combos, which I'll be showing you later. You ideally want to open up with core, Machine Dupe, Brilliant Fusion, Instant Fusion, all that stuff, so you play 3 of all of it, because like once you open up all of those, you can make some really insane boards. And then core, speaking of core, searches out Cyber Repair Plans, which I forgot to mention earlier, and this card is just your search card for your entire deck. It's just so good. And I've even finally had the situation where I've had to use this to shuffle a Cyber Dragon back into my deck to make a Machine Duplication live. I had that happen the other day because I had a core out and a Machine Dupe in hand, so I used the Repair Plans to shuffle a Cyber Dragon in my graveyard back into the deck so I could Machine Dupe the Cyber Dragon just right back out. It was nuts. And for the 1-ups, I play Upstart Goblin because it's Upstart Goblin, a Foolish Burial because this does fix your hands sometimes, but mostly it's for going second to get that core in the graveyard so you can banish your core and then get your combos going. And then Soul Charge, this card just it unbricks you so hard. Like, this card is amazing. Plus, if you open the nuts and you open this card, you're gonna end up with like this unbeatable board. Like, your opponent won't be able to do anything about it. And then my spicy tech, of course, is Reasoning. And why I still play Reasoning is because if your opponent doesn't call 5 and you hit a Galaxy Soldier, then you get to search another Galaxy Soldier. Or if you have a machine dupe in hand and you need that core and your opponent calls like 4 or 5, for example, and you hit that core, now your machine dupe is live. Like, there's just so many situations. Or like Chronomally Golden Jet, because Golden Jet will come out as a 4, then you activate its effect to make it a 5 if your opponent calls 5, so it dodges that, you know, 5 call off of Reasoning. So yeah, there's just like all these situations, not to mention, you know, going into like Jizukiru, because no one's gonna call what, 10 or 11, whatever this is. Like, no one's gonna call that. No one's gonna call 8 against Cyber Dragons. People are gonna call 5 or 4, and really they'll only call 4 if Reasoning is the first thing that you activate in the match, if they don't know what you're playing, because 4 is just like a good thing to call by default, unless of course they think that you're playing Infernoids. But either way, it works out for you. And because I suck, I'm playing Maximum Rarity, Interrupted Kaiju Slumbers, and Pot of Desires. This Charcoal Rarity is just like highest rarity for these cards. No, but for real though, I'm not picking up Desires until it gets reprinted, and the Slumbers, Sam still owes me 2 Slumbers. Alright, so moving on to the extra deck. For your Link monsters, you have Decode Talker, Radiant, and 2 Link Spiders. That's really all you need in the deck. You can play a Firewall Dragon if you really want to, but it's situational and you really want to go into other things. The main thing that you always go into, of course, is Cyber Dragon Nova, because this is like the best support card ever. This card extends your combos, lets you slap Infinity on top of it. It OTKs and it floats. Cyber Dragon Nova is just a beast. And then of course Cyber Dragon Infinity lets you suck up a monster or negates anything. It's just so good. It's really what you want to end your boards with most of the time. And for the rest of the Xyz monsters, you have Constellar Pleiades, because Pleiades is actually a combo extender itself. You can do some really weird things by bouncing core to your hand. Plus, of course, this is not bad on your opponent's turn either. And then you play Artifact Durindal, because Durindal unbricks your hand, like if you draw Garnet, for example. And also, like I said earlier, it pops your Dead Brilliant Fusion. It's really disruptive for your opponent. It's really good. It's the other thing that you want to end with on top of Infinity or Pleiades. Like, you want to end with like these two or these two. It's just how you want to end. And for the last Xyz monster, you play number 38, Hoop Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. This might be the most ridiculously long name in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but the 2-card combo with this thing is just too good. And for the instant fusion targets, I play Panzer Dragon and Invoked Raijin. You play Panzer Dragon because this is a combo extender, because it's a machine, so you can go into Nova with it. Plus, it is a light, so you can go to Pleiades with it. It's just so good, guys, so good. And then Raijin is just really good going second, because it can set a monster. You can also use Panzer Dragon's effect as well to let it die off of instant fusion to get to pop a card, but that situation rarely comes up. And for the last 2 cards, you play Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, because you can combo with that. And then finally, the Gem Knight Seraphonites might be the most important card in the extra deck, maybe. It just really depends on your hand, but getting that second normal summon is just phenomenal. And for the side deck, I just kind of threw something together for you guys. 3 Dinko Sekkas, because this is a light target for Galaxy Soldier if you draw and you can't summon it. And it's really good against Paleos or just anything that sets a lot. You just kind of auto win with this thing. Plus, you know, your second normal summon off your Seraphonite lets you normal summon this thing. It's not terrible at all. It's really good in the deck. And then I play 2 Lancia, which you contribute for this thing, and it's a level 5. And then DD Crow, because it's good against Zoo stuff that's still running around. And Lancia is really good against Invoke stuff that's still running around. Chalice is good against Dino stuff that's running around, and really just everything. Then outside of Raigeki, Twin Twisters, and then a Solemn Brigade, in case I think, and I'm pretty sure I'm going first, I'll side out the Kaijus, like the Kaiju Slumbers and stuff, and I'll go ahead and put these in, because you really don't want to draw a Kaiju Slumber going first. It's really bad. So you take those out, you put in the Scoldings, and then usually I'll take out like Dogron and Gamersil, put in like a Solemn Warning and like a Crow or something else, take out something else, put in a Crow. It just depends on what deck I'm going up against. But yeah, either way, just for like basics, you take out the Kaijus, you put in these if you're pretty sure you're going first, because the Kaijus are really dead going first. Alright, you guys, now we're finally to the combos, and I like to start you guys out with one of my favorite combos that I've ever come up with, and that's the 2-card combo with Slumber I was telling you about earlier. And it's super simple to pull off, and I think I've shown this in like all my deck profiles. What you do going second is you blow up the board using Kaiju Slumber. You give your opponent the Jizukiru and yourself the Dogoron. Dogoron is a level 8. And then what you do is you normal summon your Cyber Dragon core, get a search for your Cyber Repair Plant, and then you contact fuse into your Chimera Tech, which goes here now. And what that does is it actually puts a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard for a Cyber Repair Plant, and it's a core, so if your field does die next turn, you can go ahead and get another Cyber Dragon back out. But right here, you swing with both of these, and then you end up with your number 38 right here, which sadly does use your 1 extra deck space, but this gives you a negate of a spell, which is not bad whatsoever. Alright, so now let's do like an insane combo. I'll do 1 or 2 insane combos just to show you guys, you know, what this deck can do, but I'll also do some test hands and show you you guys how to play out various different hands. So first up, you're gonna go ahead and summon your Gofu or Goku, whatever you want to call it, and get out your 2 tokens. Then of course you do the Link Spider play, which is just Link Spider, and then you go into Mrs. Radiant, of course. Then you go ahead and activate your Brilliant Fusion, and from here you're gonna want to send your regular old Cyber Dragon, and then your Garnet, so just like that. And then that gets out your Seraphonite, of course. Let's go ahead and put it in this zone over here that the Radiant unlocked. Next up, you can go ahead and activate your Instant Fusion to go into, in this situation, I like to keep Panzer Dragon in the deck, so let's go ahead and go into Raijin, and then let's go ahead and overlay these two and go into our Durindal. And then from here, you'll go ahead and normal summon your Cyber Dragon Core, and then get a search for your Cyber Repair Plant, of course. Activate your Machine Duplication, get out the other 2 Cyber Dragons from your deck, and then you overlay your Cyber Dragons and go into Cyber Dragon Nova. So Cyber Dragon Nova, and then you have Cyber Dragons in your grave already, so you can just attach this, pop this right back out, and then go ahead and slap an Infinity on top of that. So that is how you end really, really well. And then you have a search off a Repair Plant still. And if you really wanted to, you could go ahead and go into Decode Talker. But for this, I like to actually leave the Radiant on the board. And that is because when it dies, it adds an Earth from your graveyard to your hand. So if it dies, you can actually return the Radiant itself into the extra deck because you already have an Earth. Or you can return, you know, Garnet to your hand, or just anything that you really want to. But let's go ahead and do one more of these crazy combos. Alright, so for this combo, let's say you don't draw into Gofu, so you don't get that instant Link monster. I want to show you guys how to make the best of that and still make a pretty good board. But to do it, you really have to have these 2. That's why you play 3 of each. Like, these 2 are just so good. You have to play like the 3, I mean, you have to play 3 of all these monsters. They're just all really, really good and really compatible with each other when you get going. So let's go ahead and activate the Brilliant Fusion to start this off with, sending, for this, let's go ahead and send a Cyber Dragon, and then we'll send our Garnet, of course. And then I'll get out our Seraphonite, which takes up our 1 extra deck space, but that is just fine. Let's go ahead and normal summon our Cyber Dragon Core, and then get a search for that Cyber Repair Plant, and then activate the Machine Duplication and get out 2 more Cyber Dragons. So we've only used 1 normal summon, keep that in mind here. And that's really where Seraphonite comes into play, because we don't have that free Link monster off of Gofu, so we have to make the best of it. We have to make a Link monster, we have to make the best board that we can. So let's go ahead and activate Cyber Repair Plants. Let's get a search for Dry. Let's go ahead and activate the Galaxy Soldier, and then get a search for another Galaxy Soldier off of the Galaxy Soldier's effect, of course. So there's the Galaxy Soldier, and then from here we can go ahead and either special summon another Galaxy Soldier, which I don't recommend, but we're gonna go ahead and use our second normal summon for the Golden Jet. And you notice we don't have 2 Earths for Radiant, so what we have to do is go ahead and use all 3 of these and go into that Decode Talker. So there's Decode Talker, and then from here what you do is you overlay these 2, go into that Nova, activate Nova, get Cyber Dragon right back out, and then go ahead and let's slap an Infinity on this, and then we'll end with a Durindal on this one. So that's really what you have to do if you don't open up with Gofu to get that free Mrs. Radiant, is you have to go ahead and try to make that Decode Talker and make at least these 2 monsters, because if you can make these 2 monsters, you're not going to be too bad off, because you can use Durindal to pop this, you know, and disrupt your opponent, plus you have that Infinity negate to disrupt your opponent as well, so that's really strong. Alright you guys, so let's shuffle this up and play out some hands so I can show you guys how this deck plays and how you can play out of certain situations and end with the best board that you can. If I draw Kaiju stuff, I'll play it out going second, assuming that I'm going second like I want to, and if I draw non-Kaiju stuff, I'll go ahead and play it out going first, assuming that it's like the worst case scenario, and we'll see what we can do here. So we didn't do too good, we drew double Brilliance, but that's not too bad here given this hand. So let's go ahead and activate you know, the Brilliant Fusion, get out that Seraphonite, of course, so there's gonna get out Seraphonite. In this situation, you're gonna want that regular Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, so there's Garnet, and then there's Cyber Dragon. And let's see, for this hand, let's see here, let's go ahead and activate Cyber Repair Plant, because we have a Cyber Dragon in the grave. Let's get a search for that Galaxy Soldier. Let's go ahead and activate Galaxy Soldier, pitching Golden Jet, and we'll go ahead and get another Galaxy Soldier. And you'll see why I did that in just a second. So first up, you're gonna go ahead and normal summon your Cyber Dragon Core using your first normal summon, and get a search for Cyber Repair Plant, but we can only activate Cyber Repair Plant once per turn. But in this situation, what you're gonna do is you're gonna use your second normal summon for the, like, to pitch the Seraphonite, to trip the Seraphonite, and then go into that Cyber Dragon Nova. So Cyber Dragon Nova, and then activate, and then that'll get the Cyber Dragon out. and then you have an infinity on the board that way. So not the best hand, but that was making the best of it. So let's go ahead and play out another hand. And you guys are gonna think I'm crazy for playing this build instead of the power bond build, but I just see things that this deck can do and how this deck can unbrick. Like, I just see things in the deck that people don't see. I think it's just because I've played it for so dang long. You know, this deck has been my main deck, like for, you know, my favorite deck for so long. All right, let's go ahead. Same thing, same rules. If I draw kaijus, I play it going seconds. If I don't draw kaijus, play it going first. So I drew kaijus. So in this situation, it's going to be a really, really simple board. So let's go ahead and draw. Oh, so that's really, really bad, but that's fine though, because we drew the slumber. So let's go ahead and give your opponents the... Actually, in this situation, since we don't have a Cyber Dragon in hand, you're going to give yourself the Jizukiru. So that's going to go in the main monster zone, sorry. So you're going to give yourself the Jizukiru, your opponent the Dokkan, and then what you're going to do is just simply normal summon your Golden Jet, make it a 5, activate Instant Fusion, go into a Panzer Dragon, and then go into Pleiades, and then detach. And that, of course, bounces the Kaiju to your hand, which is really, really good. Now your opponent doesn't control a Kaiju, you can go ahead and give them another Kaiju, like Kaiju something else, like, you know, and then attack over it. It's really, really clever. That's another move that I find myself doing in the deck sometimes. It's probably the dirtiest move in the deck, is the Pleiades Kaiju move. So I'm actually glad I got to draw that hand and get to show you that. So let's go ahead and do one more test hand. All right, so let's go ahead and cut that in half again, and then see what we can get. All right, so kaiju stuff, so let's go ahead and draw another card. All right, so going second, this is actually pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna activate Foolish Burial, and then we're gonna pitch out the Cyber Dragon Core, and then activate Core, assuming our opponent has a monster. And Core is going to get out Cyber Dragon. Now, if we had Machine Duplication in hand, you would go Core for Core. You would Foolish a Core, banish Core for Core. You can do that. And that's what you would do if you had the Machine Duplication in hand. So we got the Cyber Dragon out. Let's go. So right now, let's go ahead and try to get another light monster to our hand or onto the field, because we have a Galaxy Soldier in hand, but no light. And, you know, of course, let's just assume we don't have that. Let's assume we Kaiju'd an opponent's monster, so to get rid of a problem. So from here, let's go ahead and activate Reasoning. Now that they see that we're playing Cyber Dragon, they're going to call 5. So let's go ahead and activate Reasoning. Hopefully they don't hit a 5. Nice. So there's a 2. Now from what we're going to do is we're going to try to get a light monster off of the Desires, I would say, so we can do a Galaxy Soldier play. So let's go ahead and try to do that. See what we get off Desires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Okay, so now the Brilliant Fusion wouldn't be bad. Let's see if we banish the Garnet. We didn't banish the Garnet. That's not bad at all. Okay, so now let's go ahead and activate Brilliant Fusion then. Maybe we can possibly get enough monsters on the board for Decode Talker. Let's just keep playing this out and see what we can do. Go ahead and activate Brilliant Fusion, Garnet, and in this situation, what else do we have? We have a dry, so we'll just send the dry. All right, and that gets out the Seraphinite. So Seraphinite. Let's go ahead and shuffle up and then Upstart and see if we can get a light monster for Galaxy Soldier. So Upstart Goblin, draw. Nice. All right. So now we actually have 2 options. Since our opponent has a Kaiju and we don't, we can just drop this on the board, or we can summon the Galaxy Soldier. So let's go ahead and use it to summon Galaxy Soldier. Hopefully we didn't banish all of our Galaxy Soldiers, though. No, we didn't. Amazing. We got like an amazing draw off of that Pot of Desires, which is kind of why you have to play it. Plus, if you like Dubrick, like getting that +1 just helps you. I mean, it does suck banishing your Garnet and drawing Brilliant Fusion, but it's kind of a risk you have to take, you know, in this build, because I mean the deck needs all the help it can get. It's aged so much. All right, so now from here, let's go ahead and tribute all of these off and get these, or I guess tribute might not be the word. Like either way, you like use them to link up, use them to link summon Decode Talker, and then from here activate your Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion brings out Panzer Dragon. Panzer Dragon you overlay for Nova, so break out Nova, detach, summon. Slap an Infinity on top of it, activate Infinity's effect, suck up the Dogeron, and that pretty much ends your turn, but that got you an Infinity. That got you to an Infinity and a Decode Talker, which is not terrible. So technically you'd put that, you'd summon this here, so you'd Talker and could point to the Cyber Dragon. All right, you guys, so let's play one more hand. I don't care if it's good or bad, let's go ahead and play it out. If it's Garnet, that's gonna suck, but let's go ahead and play it out, and you know, maybe I could show you guys how to play out of a Garnet hand the best I can. So that's That was 5 cards. That was 6 cards. So, hey, not bad, not bad. So, now going second, this would obviously be better. But let's go ahead and play this out going first, I guess. No, let's play it out going second. Let's go balls to the wall. So, ooh. All right. So, going second, let's go ahead and activate that Kaiju Slumber. Then that's going to give your opponent, since we do have Cyber Dragon in this situation, that'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and give ourselves Dogoron, give them the Jizukiru. And then we will normal summon Cyber Dragon, activate Cyber Dragon, and then get a search for that Cyber Dragon Repair Plant, Cyber Repair Plant. Alright, then we'll activate Machine Duplication, and then Machine Duplication will get out 2 more copies of Cyber Dragon, freaking broke. And then from here, we are left with a situation. And that's because if we contact Fuse for Chimera Tech, that uses our 1 extra deck zone, and we can't go into Nova or anything. But with how much attack power we have on the field, that's not a bad idea. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and go like just balls to the wall here. Get a search off of Cyber Repair Plant. Get a search for Galaxy Soldier, I guess, just for next turn. And that's game on board if they have nothing else, just right there. Because that is 5,000 plus 4,200. That's 9,200 damage. And that still leaves you with 4 cards in hand. So not bad at all. If you guys didn't want to go for Chimera Tech, the other way to play that out would be to go into Infinity and then use Infinity to suck up the Jizukiru. That would be the other way to do it. But yeah, you guys, that is going to do it for this deck profile. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I know a lot of you guys do prefer the old school Power Bond build, so I will be showing that in another video. I just really wanted to show that this deck can still do some things and still pull off some crazy combos, even though Link monsters are out now and we're all kind of limited on what we can do. Cyber Dragons and decks like Cyber Dragons can still pull off some really crazy stuff if you're creative enough, and if you sit down with the deck and play out different combos and stuff, you can figure out all kinds of different things to make decks viable and competitive. But go ahead and let me know what you think about this deck down in the comment section, and go ahead and let me know what decks you guys are playing, because I would really love to know. And as always, be sure to dick slap that like button and subscribe.